Beautiful, nice. What's up, guys? So it's time to replace my rear brake pads. I noticed the one right here on the passenger side on the outer edge was basically bare for some reason. So let's go ahead and crack this open and see what we're dealing with. Now, right off the bat, if you have brake wear on one pad, you know for sure that you have slider pins that are binding up. So Honda actually recommends that you lube up your slider pins with grease every year. So you want to do that annually, and I like to use silicone paste for that. Link in the description below. But again, it's an annual service that you need to do. Now, I always see online that people suggest that you need to get some fancy computer to disengage the parking brake. No need for that. Just your basic tools to do a basic brake job is needed. Now, what I will say is once you park your car in your garage or your level surface just like this one here, definitely do not engage the e-brake. Just leave it alone, put it in park, shut off your car. You want to jack up the rear, and that'll make sure that the e-brake does not compress those pistons, because once you engage the e-brake, those pistons get compressed, and because of those slider pins binding up, it's going to stay like that even when you disengage the parking brake. So again, put it in park, it'll let the caliper sit naturally and you'll be able to lift it up. There's no need for fancy computers, there's no need to remove the electronic e-brake. All you really need to do is unclip the electronic connector and you'll be able to pull that caliper straight up, nice and easy, nice and fluidly. Again, I just pulled in. I'm not going to engage the parking brake, so I'm just going to go ahead, slowly let my foot off the brake. I'm in a level garage, so shouldn't have a lot of rolling here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and shut the car off. So now I'm ready to do the rear brake pads, and let's go ahead and get started now. So by not engaging the parking brake, as you can see, no grip on the rotor, and that caliper should come loose pretty easily. All right, so what are we looking back here? Let me show you. So real quick, of course, this is your brake caliper. This is your electronic parking brake right here. There's a little bit of a solenoid motor. It spins it clockwise, counterclockwise, depending on if you're engaging it or disengaging it. And that'll actually compress this in and out based on your parking brake. Of course, you got your pads here. You've got an outer pad and then an inner pad on this side. These are your caliper pin bolts. Now, this is a little bit different because this is actually more of an external design. Typically, you would have a rubber boot and then the two pins would go inside. This is a little bit different of a design, and then that will grant access to both brake pads. Pull them out. There's a couple springs here, as you can see, and then there's also one retaining clip that you're going to need to keep a hold of. Some brake pads don't include this, so you might need to reuse it. But let's go ahead and open our new brake pads now. What you guys know about Akebono? If you don't know, now you know. So instead of buying OEM Honda pads, I recommend you check this brand out. Again, Akebono Pro Act, and then you're gonna have different part numbers. This one is for the 10th gen Honda Civic rear. ACT 1878. Let's go ahead and bust these open real quick. And yes, no retaining clip included. It does include the two springs here, which is cool, but again, you're gonna need to reuse that retaining clip that I showed you earlier. But essentially that's all that's included in this kit. You get your 4 brake pads, 2 per each side. You get your retaining clips. You also get a brake wear indicator right there. And yeah, this one only includes 1 on each side, and that goes on the inner side of those brake calipers there. So let's go ahead and start with the removal process, and I'll show you guys how to pop these in. As you can see here, there are the brackets included, the little plates there. So you don't need to reuse the old ones. And those are the brake pads. All right, so let's start off by removing this clip here. Just be careful because this can spring out, hit you in the face, hit you in the eye, makes you have eye protection, glasses, something like that. All right, so let's go ahead and remove this retaining clip here. I am reusing this, so I'm trying not to damage it in any way, shape, or form. Once you get one side out, the other side will just kind of pull right out. And then now let's go ahead and remove this lower pin here. There's a little bit of a plastic cover here you need to remove. There it is right there. Take care not to lose that, by the way. So you're gonna wanna invest in a hex key set just like this, or just have a really nice set of Allen wrenches. Yeah, it's actually really cut off there, but yeah, this is a 7mm hex key for the lower bolt. Oh, that was actually the right size, perfect. Go ahead and take my ratchet here, make sure it's in the off setting. Go ahead and do it. Just gonna do the rest by hand now. There's your lower pin. Again, it's more of an external design, which is pretty interesting, pretty unique. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure to clean this off really good and then apply some brand new lube. Let's go ahead and set that aside for now. This is another one of those, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This has never been a problem before with a manual e-brake. Why'd they have to go and do this electronic parking brake bull crap? I don't get it. The old-fashioned one worked just fine. And just an FYI, the top bolt and the bottom bolt are the exact same size. Cool. All right, so I went ahead and removed the top bolt too, just because I'm gonna go ahead and clean all these components here and the slide pins as well, just to get the as much fluid motion as I can there. Now you do need to remove that bracket right there. There's a little bit of clip. You need to push that tab back and this will just pop right off. All right, so I've got the little adapter removed. That's just what supplies the power to this motor here. Now this should ideally pull straight out. Beautiful, nice. All right, definitely do not let this hang by the brake hose here. Got a little hook I'm just gonna use temporarily. Hook this up right over here on this metal bracket. All right, and here are the pads I am removing. These are the stock OEM pads, and as you can see here, I have quite a bit of pad material left. The reason why I'm replacing it is because for some reason on the passenger rear, it wore out completely, and you'll see that in a second. So rather than just changing one out, I'm just gonna go do it the set while I'm at it. Again, plenty of pad life left. It's kind of unfortunate that happened. I'm guessing there's something binding up over on the passenger side there, but there are the pads. It's probably a good 5mm, maybe even 6. Definitely had a lot more life in these pads, unfortunately. All right, and here is a quick comparison of the new pad, the Akebono product, and the Honda OEM product. Now I've heard and read that Akebono actually makes these pads for Honda, and from what I see, they do look basically identical. Now that bracket on the back there is a little bit different. Of course, this one has Honda stamped on it. But other than that, it does look identical, same bracket, same design on the ends there, tabs, identical. Brake pads got the cut down the middle. I don't know, what do you guys think? All right, so I'm actually not gonna do rotors today. I hate pad slapping, but this is actually an emergency job because again, I have no brake pad on the passenger rear, so I need to do this like ASAP, and then I'll need to change out these rotors as soon as I can. Just checking the surface here. Looking good, but let's go ahead and put this on. Before we do, I do need to compress this caliper, so let me show you how to do that right now. All right, so I've got my standard thread piece here. This also has reverse thread if that's what your car needs. I believe this one is standard thread, so we'll find out right now. I'm gonna go ahead and pop in my little number 6 adapter here. And real quick, here's a close-up of the brake job toolkit I use. It's a 23-piece disc caliper tool set, available on Amazon. Really high quality tools. Again, you get left-hand and right-hand thread drivers, tons of adapters, just about every job. You even get a couple of these caliper holding tools. These can hook onto any type of bolt, spring, shock, bracket, whatever, and prevent you from, supporting it from the brake hose. Even includes a set of gloves, which is really unexpected. But again, high quality tools, really cheap price, even cheaper than Harbor Freight, you guys. Check it out in the description below. All right, so I've got the threaded piece, little bracket, my adapter. It's attached to these 2 tabs here on this caliper. Let's go and give this a spin, see if it works. And with this brake system, you don't have those copper little brackets you have on these tabs, which is kind of interesting. This caliper mount, it's just that, and then the brake pad's right on top of it. So let's go ahead and get a wire brush, clean this out real quick before we put on the new pads. All right, so I've got a little Honda OEM lube. So I'm gonna apply a little bit here. That's where the actual piston lands, right here, and then a little bit on the tabs as well. Definitely take care to not touch this with your clean hands or gloves. So this is the inner pad. You want this on the leading edge. As it spins forward, you want this on the leading edge. All right, so at this point, just gonna cross my fingers. Hopefully that piston is inside that bore enough to let this sit naturally. There's your pads installed. This should ideally slide right on. And that it does. Nice. Okay. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and spray these pins with some brake clean, wipe them down, put some new lubricant on, and we should be good to go. Silicone paste, safe for all rubber components, plastic, metal, it's all good, and it's very long lasting as well. No particular order. All right, all that's left now is to connect this little electronic connector. Double check your work. I got my top bolt, bottom bolt, top protective cap, bottom protective cap. And we gotta install this bracket back on. Got a little bit of grease I need to clean up. Okay, that's all there is to it. Now, before you start driving away, you do want to pump your brakes. Double check your brake fluid as well. Make sure you're not overflowing or too low. Once you get a brake pedal, then you can go ahead and pop it into reverse or drive, and then definitely check your brakes. Make sure you have a brake pedal. You can also re-engage the parking brake as well. All right, so this is done. I've got my brake pads in. Caliper pin is back on. I've got my 2 caliper pins lubed up, ready to go, tightened up. I've got my protective caps installed, and I've got my electronic wired reinstalled. So this one is actually fully done. Let's go ahead and put the wheel on and move on to the other side. Yeah, no brake pad left. I got some troubleshooting to do. I'm guessing something in these pins is causing it to bind up. Really surprised that this pad wore out super fast. We'll have to see how the inside pad is looking. Looking a little dry, but nothing to be crazy worried about. There's the other one. All right, so check out the wear of this pad. So this is the inner pad. Now it does have a little bit more wear than on the driver's side, but still quite a bit of pad material left. As you can see, we still had another 3 millimeters before hitting the wear indicator on the inner pad here. Check out the outer pad. Pretty much all gone. I actually caught this just in time. It started to hit a little metal to metal there. But yeah, that's pretty bad, you guys. Not sure what would cause this. Something sticking over here on the outer edge where it's not letting that caliper come back this way and center on this rotor here. So I'm definitely gonna need new rotors for sure. Again, this is an emergency, so I'm gonna pad slap. I hate doing it, but I'm gonna pad slap and then look into getting new rotors ASAP. So it's clockwise. Something like that. and then hit the tabs. A little bit of lube. Grab the brake pad by the clips here up on top so I don't contaminate my gloves here. Something like that should do just fine. Slide her on in. Oh yes, very smooth, nice. All right, so as you can see, caliper slides freely. Cable adapter here. So again, I got complete wear on one pad on the outer edge, and that is because I never looped up the slider pins on this side here, or on both sides actually. So I definitely recommend to lube up those pins once a year. I'm gonna go ahead and start doing that from the front as well, but the front is actually the standard slider pin, the internal design, so I don't think there's gonna be any issues with the front. It's definitely really important service for the rear. Anyways, you guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.